If this bill is such a great thing for democracy, why did the Democrats pass it in the dead of night on a party line vote? Remember, even squishy moderates in the House GOP, they voted against it.
Okay, so that's Laura Ingraham talking about HR 1, the both symbolically and in terms of when it's rolled out, most important bill for the Democrats. And that is a voting rights bill with a number of different aspects, which we've talked about. And there you have Laura Ingraham implying that because they passed it at night and because no Republicans supported it, how could it possibly be good? Which is an amazing bit of like circular logic. I didn't expect, Bridget, that many Republicans would support it, nor did I stake my evaluation of how good it is or how necessary it is to shore up voting rights in America based on whether it got any Republicans to support it. Did the lack of Republican support for HR 1 bother you at all?
No, they don't support anything that's good. Of course not. They didn't support COVID relief.
They did not. Yeah, and so if they didn't support that as overwhelmingly positive or supported in the electorate that it is, I'm not surprised that they don't like this. But the thing is, we talked on the show yesterday about HR 1. We showed you when Mike Lee, he was saying it was written in hell by the devil himself, that the actual components of it, even presented by Fox News, it's difficult to understand on its face why that would be something that people would oppose. And actually, it turns out, even when Laura Ingraham is trying to fearmonger about it, like listing what's in it, it really doesn't seem that scary yet either. But I'll let the audience decide as we watch this video.
Anyone with a tiny little brain sees this 800-page monstrosity. They see it has zero to do with empowering voters. Its sole purpose is to ensure a permanent Democrat majority, period. Now, HR 1 takes a chainsaw to our constitutional order by ending state control over elections. And thus it opens the door to rampant fraud and abuse. The bag of horribles, well, it mandates universal mail-in ballots, early voting, same-day voter registration, and online registration, and state voter ID laws would be banned entirely. States would even be prohibited from checking for duplicate voter registrations with other states within 6 months of an election. Oh, by the way, and ballot harvesting, that would be legalized nationwide. Good going. The bill also imposes nationwide automatic voter registration.
Not national voter registration. We'll say no more. Indeed, you don't have to say anymore. We all know how terrible that is. Look, I get if you watch the Fox Cinematic Universe, you get the reference, you don't need it laid out. But why is that on its face so bad? Why is online registration or whatever? Like, she makes so many claims that she doesn't even give like a Tucker Carlson sort of defense to. So it ends state level control, thus opening the door for fraud. Why? Why does that? Why does having one system invite obviously more fraud than having 50 plus systems? Like, she's making all these claims without actually defending them, and then just listing, I guess to her credit, the actual things that are in it. Those are actually things that are in the bill, assuming that we will fill it in with horror. And Bridget, I don't really get that.
Yeah, I mean, she lists what's in the bill. She says it's scary. She says it with this sort of cadence as if she's reading a ransom note or something. Maybe just saying it's scary is gonna be enough to have her audience be, oh, the horror, people voting. Everything that she lists is just a way of making voting easier to access and available for more people. Early voting, vote by mail, online voting, all of these are things that just increase access to citizens being able to vote. So I guess that's terrifying to her and perhaps terrifying to her viewership, but nothing that she says is this bag of horribles that is, warrants this kind of fear mongering that she's using when she speaks about it. We're just talking about people being able to vote. We should, in a democracy, we should want more people voting, not less. We should want to eliminate barriers to voting, not put more up. I guess if you say it scary enough and you make it sound like you're talking about Dracula, maybe people will actually be afraid of it.
Exactly. And by the way, the bag of horribles is just a cheap knockoff of our Garbage People of the Week segment. But anyway, and look, at the beginning of her little thing there, she said HR 1 is not about helping voters. It's about ensuring permanent Democratic control. So she asserts they say it's about this. but it's actually about this. And then she said everything that she did in that video, that it would make the registration easier, that you could do it online. So I ask you, which of those two things did the things she lead to? It seems on its face like that would make voting easier. Even a conservative would probably prefer to register online rather than having to go to the DMV. But she asserts, no, in fact, it's about ensuring permanent control. Did any of the things she say naturally lead to Democratic control forever? I mean, maybe you could try to make the case of why you think that's a consequence, but it's not on its face a consequence. So she isn't even buttressing her own argument there. She's in fact buttressing the one that she started off the segment by trying to say is invalid.
Yeah, and I mean, if she believes that these policies will lead to, quote, permanent Democratic control, she needs to explain why having people be able to vote early is going to lead to that. But I can't figure out why that is, and I think it just goes back to this big lie that has been sort of like mainstreamed on platforms like Fox News, that the election was rigged or stolen, or that there's some sort of widespread voting irregularities happening, which we know is not the case. And so, this is just more fear mongering about an issue that really is not a big deal. Like, what she is talking about is expanding access to voting, which should be a good thing. The fact that she seems to be so terrified by it, I think, is really telling.
Yeah. I'm wondering if maybe they deserve a little bit of odd credit, because in the run up to the November election, they were demonizing mail voting and early voting. And we said, and everyone said, you idiots, that's gonna lead to your voters doing less of it, and that's probably gonna hurt you. So then we had an election, and that totally came true. And they're still demonizing those. Like, in theory, they could pivot and they could be like, oh, whoops, actually, we kind of want to win elections. So no, if you can vote early, please vote early. And if you can vote by mail and that's the only way you're gonna vote, definitely do that. But they're not pivoting. They seem to still believe, even with all of the evidence of that last election and the runoffs in Georgia, that demonizing those things is somehow more beneficial than trying to get their own voters to do them. And that's a risky gamble.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.